Trojan family, what's up, man? USCJ here. It's the top of the morning. I hope everybody is getting ready to get up, get out, and make some things happen this morning. Listen, we got to talk about three possible candidates that I believe who could be the best possible choice for the USC defensive coordinator. What makes the most sense for the USC defensive coordinator position, and what would be the most likely? I know we're going to talk about the Dave Arandas. He's a California native. I know we're going to talk about the Jim Leonard, one of the most highly sought after guys. But who do I think is the most likely guy to be able to get this position? We'll talk about that also. There has been some rumblings. I've seen some things on the internet and about some of the things that USC linebacker Mason Cobb said about watching film from Washington game. I seen some going back and forth. Some people, they asked me about it. What did I think about it? So I'm gonna kind of address that right now. I see both sides of it as far as it's water under the bridge. We're not gonna run that same scheme, but at the same time, I understand that the Washington game was an absolute disaster. I get that. I understand that. However, do you need to see your mistakes? Do you need to see your effort? Do you need to see some of the things that you might have been able to do better to sharpen your skills or to correct your problems? I agree with that aspect of it. I think that I kind of understand what Mason Cobb was saying, but I don't agree with that. I believe here's the thing with that. I think that if you don't watch the film and see some of the issues that you had, some of the same problems that I brought up as far as with Alex Grinch, not watching the film from the week before, prior to the Utah game, and they just played, different teams. I think it was Cal that they played, and he said that he's never seen that play before. I believe that's essentially the same thing. Even though it's not preparing for that opponent, I believe it's film watching. Anybody who plays football know that you got to watch the film before, you got to watch the film after. I think Solomon Byrd, I think it was him that after one of those games, I can't remember which game, I think it was the Utah game, he was talking about how at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning that he was watching film, man. I mean, that's how upset, that's how much it bothered him. So, that's my answer to that for those who will ask me about that. No disrespect to any player, much respect to all of them, Mason Cobb and everybody. But do I think you need to watch the film? Absolutely, man. So that's my thoughts on that. Now, when we look at the defensive coordinators now, I got 3 of them, man. One of them, of course, you guys know Monday. I think it was Monday when I announced the Alex Grinch thing. I said that there's several guys that, that I wanted to try to touch on. But I'm going to touch on maybe 2 or 3 of them at a time. I'm going to do 3 of them today. And one of them I mentioned before, that is the UCLA defensive coordinator, and then the other one is the SMU coordinator. We'll talk about him. And the other one who I'm hearing is the Texas defensive coordinator, who, and coincidentally, most likely will be the choice. I mean, allegedly. We'll see what happens with that. We'll connect the dots. We'll talk about that. I want to talk about where their defense ranks right now and who these guys are. Now, what is the criteria for being a good defensive coordinator? That's the question. As far as when you're talking about USC, do they have to be a California native? My answer is not necessarily. They don't have to be a California native, because I've heard guys like, Ken Norton. I've heard, of course, Dave Aranda. Those guys that are California natives. I don't think they necessarily have to be that, but I think it's important that they kind of understand the landscape of the California area. I really do. Do I think you have to have somebody on the staff? Absolutely. You got to keep a guy like Dante, a guy like Buki, those guys who are from the local area. I believe it's, extremely important. And you guys already know, Jaywalk and myself, we talked about on this show, bringing back some guys who's familiar with the Trojan family. If that means bringing somebody like Jaywalk in to do some coaching. Of course, I mentioned guys like a Deion Bailey, guys like Sewell Cravens. I think those guys, and I think Sewell Cravens, coincidentally, I think he threw his name out there in the ring as far as being part of the defensive staff. He said that I've seen it on Twitter. He said that he wanted to be a part of helping his program that he loves, and I respect that. Much respect to Sewell Cravens as it relates to that, because I think he needs to be a part of it. You got a guy that played professional football, played at USC, and had success. understands how to play his position. So somebody like Sewell Cravens absolutely needs to be on the staff. Now, who are the guys that I think make the most sense, and who do I think that USC could possibly go after? I've heard that the SMU coach, we'll take a look at some of this information. I want to look at it real quick. Could possibly be one of those guys. And I think that USC needs to possibly go after him. But real quick, before I do that, I'm going to talk about these guys, the defense, where these guys rank at real quick, statistically. Each guy I told you, UCLA, SMU, and Texas. So right now, SMU currently ranks number 8 in the country. Yes, number 8 in the country for defense. They're averaging right now 4.23 yards per play. Averaging yards per game, 281.8 yards per game. And that is SMU, ranking at number 8 in the country for the defense. And I'll get into some of his information in a second. The next one is UCLA. They went down. They were in the top 10, but right now, currently, they're ranked number 13 in the country. And they're averaging just per play 4.48 yards per play. Also, yardage per game, they're averaging 294.3 yards per game. Now, the next one is Texas. They're ranking right now at number 30 in the country. They're top 30 defense. They're averaging just at 5.3 yards per game. Also, they're averaging 331.2 yards per game. So those are the guys. So we're talking about a top 35 defense for between all those guys. But real quick, what I want to do is I want to take a look at I want to take a look at the UCLA defensive coordinator first. And you guys know, just read it, number 13. He's a young guy, and to me, what really makes the most sense when you look at a guy like this. His name is DeAnthony Lynn, and he's a defensive coordinator for UCLA. And one of the things that to me that makes sense is he's already there. He's a crosstown rival. He's already in LA. I'm saying from a smooth transition. He came from the NFL. We'll take a look at him real quick. Here's some of his information. DeAnthony Lynn was hired as a defensive coordinator at UCLA February 27, 2023. He's an NFL coaching veteran. He served as a safety coach for the Baltimore Ravens immediately before joining the Bruins. But he was a part of a big-time team. I want to read this. In 2022, the Baltimore Ravens defense surrendered just 18.5 points per game. It was good for third in the league. So here also, after 2 years as an assistant secondary coach, Lynn was promoted to the secondary coach by the Houston Texans in 2020. Houston won back-to-back AFC championships in 2019 and 2018. The 2018 team gave up 19.8 points per game. So also, Lynn, he served as a defensive assistant under his father, head coach Anthony, with the Los Angeles Chargers in 2017. So this guy, he has an incredible pedigree, and I think it's somebody that'll be absolutely a dynamite pick. He's young, and that's one of the things that I think, the criteria-wise, that I think that we need to have. Somebody who's young, somebody who's been around football, somebody who understands the language, somebody who understands schemes, somebody who understands a defensive style. You know, you talk about somebody from the NFL. He came straight from the NFL. And, man, how in the world UCLA got him? That's unbelievable. Also, listen, a Buffalo assistant for 2 years, Lynn supported a defense that finished fourth in both passing touchdowns allowed with 19 and opponent completions percentage at 59.9 in 2016. The 2015 squad tied for the league's lead with 93 pass defense and saw opponents' record the third lowest completion rate at 57.6. Man, so look, you guys can hit me on that. What's your thoughts on Lynn? I think he is a absolute dynamic guy. Now, when you look at somebody like Scott Simmons, that's the next one. I think he will be another one that's a dynamic candidate. He was hired by SMU's defensive coordinator in 2021. After spending 3 seasons as defensive coordinator at Liberty, while also working with safeties and linebackers. Simmons completed his first year as a defensive coordinator with the Mustangs in 2022. SMU went 7-5 in the regular season and faced BYU in the New Mexico Bowl. The Mustangs made 964 total tackles. Listen, you guys already know tackling is our problem. If you got a guy that can really teach and coach and the discipline, number one, and then teach the tackling aspect. Listen, I don't know what it is. I told you guys before. I said that I grew up learning how to tackle. I mean, we learned how to tackle playing up in elementary school, But for whatever reason, we just kind of hit, man. We're not tackling, we're not rappling up, and I think we got to have some individuals that can actually get back to fundamentals, like a Sewell Cravens, get back to fundamentals, like this coach here, Josh Simmons, and I think that it'll be incredible. Simmons helped mentor All-American Athletic Conference second team selection. Elijah Chapman was also the Bronco Nowinski Outland Trophy and Lombardi Award. So look, that is that guy right there. He is an absolute, and to have them guys at number 8 right now. And here's the thing with SMU. SMU right now, I think it'll benefit him right now if he were to move. Simply because of this. You got to think about this. SMU is going to the ACC with Cal, and they're going to the ACC with Stanford. Stanford and I believe Cal are getting, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this, they're getting partial. SMU agreed to go to the conference, I think not taking any type of money right now from TV revenue deals from once they get to the conference. They just wanted to get to a place. At one point, they wanted to come to the Pac-12, but they wanted to get to a place. So how is that going to affect the program overall from a financial standpoint, and then being able to be compensated from a big-time university? USC can absolutely compensate this guy and be able to put money in his pocket, and then he's able to coordinate for a big-time university. So we got the UCLA coordinator, DeAnthony Lynn, and then we got this guy here, big time Scott Simmons, man. So, and then the next one is going to be the Texas defensive coordinator. Let me pull him up real quick because I think that this guy may actually be the guy that is going to be the guy, and that's what I think is going to happen, man. You guys can hit me and tell me what you think about this, but he does have some experience with our current, and I'm pulling it up right now, our current AD, Jennifer Cohen. And so here it is right here. Let me pull his information up. This guy was at Washington before he got on at Texas. Whereas Jennifer Cohen, was she the individual that actually hired him? No, but she was there. He was under Chris Peterson. He was an incredible defensive coordinator. And, I think that USC may likely, according to some reports, go stick with this guy right here. So it says, from a longtime coach and friend, Kowinski, who wanted to inquire about his interest in an open defensive coordinator position, long known as a top defensive mind, had been the picture of stability in a notable transcendent profession, spending 15 years between alma mater Boise State and Washington. Let's see here. This is when they first got him here. Kowinski's decision ended up a substantial search effort for Sarkisian as he sought to make the most important on-field coaching. From Florida and South Carolina head coach Will Muschamp wasn't interested. Well, I'm going back into the wrong article here. Let me pull this information up real quick. All right, here's the information that I wanted to read to you right here. Kowinski played at Boise State prior to the Broncos' move up to Division 1A. He coached at his alma mater in 26. Let's see here. Kowinski, he moved the Texas defense has taken continual strides under Kowinski, ranking top 25 in both scoring and total defense this season. His best mark by Kowinski led Longhorns defense in each respective category was 28th and 25th respectively last season. Sarkisian credited Kowinski ability to form based on the players that will be playing in it. So I think that this guy, man, is the fact that he already has somewhat of a relationship with Jennifer Cole, and the fact that he has a top pretty much 30 defense. It kind of fluctuates between top 20 and top 30 depending on what they do. But I think that he's the most likely chance. Do I think he's the best chance? I personally don't think he's the best chance or the best candidate. I like him for what he's done, but I would rather see either SMU coach or DC, or I would like to see the UCLA. Those two right there, those are young candidates. They both make, to me, in my opinion, the most sense. You guys can hit me in the comment section. I know everybody's going to say the Jim Leonard thing. They're going to say the David Randa thing. But to me, what makes the most sense and what's the most likely, I think it could either be one of these guys right here, man. You guys can hit me in the comment section. You guys can tell me what you think. Also, what are your thoughts on the Mason Cobb comment? Should he be watching the film or not? Hit me in the comments. Let me know what you think. I'm out of here, man. Look, I'm going to be on a Oregon podcast, the Duck Zone. You guys, I will put that on my Twitter, my Instagram. It will be tomorrow. Also, I'm going to do my own preview of USC versus Oregon as well. Listen, until later on, I'm out of here. Everybody stay blessed. Fight on, fight on, fight on.